Okay, so yesterday we made a video where we talked about Kevin Franke, where he's on this like really weird press tour right now. And he's talking about the documentaries that are being made on Ruby Franke and his family. And the chat right now is... Well, okay, I'm seeing a general consensus on how we're all, feeling right now. But Kevin Franke, obviously the ex-husband of Ruby Franke, who is locked in prison. Hopefully she rots there for life. He's on this little weird press tour with his son Chad, talking about the documentaries that have been made about Ruby and his family. And he's taking this really weird approach where he's victimizing himself. And I actually made a video on it yesterday, thinking that people were going to call me out for maybe going too harsh on him. But thankfully, the muckers are obviously level-headed and sane people. God bless you all. Where you were all in agreement with me in terms of what he's doing is kind of rewriting the narrative in terms of he knows that Ruby is locked up, so he's kind of passing all the blame off to her, even though he was a part of the family channel whenever they were vlogging. Because obviously Jodi Hildebrandt came into the picture as the family therapist, and he's blaming, Jodi kicking him out and him leaving, which even at that, you chose to walk away from your kids. And sorry, to me, that's on you, not Jodi, even though Jodi is an awful person. But whenever they were doing the 7 passengers, he was a prominent figure who was in these videos. So for him to act like he wasn't involved in the trauma that these kids went through while sitting with Chad, the kid that was done probably the worst out of them all, is really shocking to me. So thank you everyone for the response on the video yesterday. But I have a huge update. I didn't think I was going to make a video on Kevin Franke for a long time past the one I just posted. However, Kevin Franke has now filed a lawsuit against Jodi Hildebrandt. Now, I didn't know that you could file lawsuits against people who are in prison. Did any of you guys know this, by the way? I literally didn't know that if someone is locked in prison, you can sue them. However, he is suing Jodi Hildebrandt, and I want to dive into, is he suing her for being divine? Dude, if... I don't know if anyone remembers the Jodi Hildebrandt video. I am not gay. I am not stupid. I am not fat. I am not ugly. I am divine. Wait, if anyone has that video, can you please tweet it to me? Because I would love to be able to show it on stream right now. If you have that video, please, this is my Twitter. Please tweet it to me so we can play it. She goes, I am not stupid. I am not fat. I am not ugly. I am not stupid because I am divine. If anyone has that, please tweet it to me because I would love to see it. I haven't seen that video in a long fucking time. But anyways, yes, Ruby Franke's ex-husband files lawsuit against Jodi Hildebrandt for medical malpractice. So here we have recent mugshots. Oof. Girl. So here we have Jodi Hildebrandt, and here we have Ruby. Jodi. We should be suing her for looking like this. Oh my God. Anyways, yeah, I'm really intrigued that he's taking this approach of suing Jodi because I think okay, I don't want to overstep anything here, but I do believe that he is trying his best to pass all of the blame off to Jodi. And please do not get me wrong, Jodi is responsible for 90% of what went on. She came into the family as the family therapist and she manipulated and she took over. I completely agree. However, Kevin was involved up until that point. Do not forget that. And then he chose to walk away, okay? How the hell is Ruby curling her hair in prison? Does this look like curled hair to you? I mean, maybe a little beachy wave, but she still looked chop AF. Goodness. God, Jodi. Chopped. So let's get into this because I'm really intrigued to see what's happening, okay? Okay, so Kevin Franke, the ex-husband of Ruby Franke, the disgraced former family vlogger who ran the now defunct YouTube channel 8 Passengers, has filed a lawsuit against Jodi Hildebrandt, a licensed therapist who ran an online self-improvement program with Ruby, accusing her of medical malpractice. So it's really crazy to me that he's filing this on medical malpractice. And also, I don't know anyone else. I'm also surprised that he's not including Ruby in this lawsuit at all. And even in his little press tour that he's doing right now, he is passing all the blame off to Jodi, which feels very weird to me. I don't know, does anyone else kind of feel that he's like singling her out, kind of even taking blame off of Ruby and himself, by the way? It feels a little bit weird. It feels a little bit weird. Jodi Hildebrandt, a convicted child abuser, and clock that, by the way, is alleged to have misrepresented herself while serving as his licensed clinical mental health counselor. Franke and Hildebrandt are serving potential decades in prison, and I hope they get that entire sentence, by the way, in prison for the aggravated child abuse of Franke's young children. In August of 2023, Franke's 12-year-old son escaped out of the window of Hildebrandt's mansion and ran to a neighbor's home for help. He was seen with duct tape on his ankles and wrists, wounds on his body, and he was severely malnourished. When police went to Hildebrandt's home, they arrested her and found that Franke's 9-year-old daughter was hiding in a closet. It took hours for law enforcement officers and paramedics to persuade the petrified girl to come out of the closet so they could get her the medical attention she needed. And we watched this like ages ago, but it was honestly some of the worst things that I've ever seen, how scared the young daughter was because she couldn't trust any authoritative figure or adult at all because of how wronged she had been and abused from Jodi and Franke. And that is honestly why I honestly hope that whatever the max prison sentence is, that they are dealing with that. And also, sorry, I really, really, really do not like Kevin, and you know this, but why is Kevin not being investigated in any way for even like negligence or what's that word? Like where he just kind of passed it all off. Like, I honestly believe that Kevin is as responsible as all like this. Like, what the fuck is wrong with the media for glazing over Kevin and loving him as the parent who stepped up? The parent who stepped up? Sorry, I saw that in an article recently, by the way, where someone was literally calling Kevin the parent that stepped up in times like these. In times like these, he sat and watched it fucking happen. Piss me off. Piss me off. Anyways, let's continue. When the police went to Hildebrandt's home, they arrested her and found the daughter. And obviously, she was petrified and all the rest, which is fucking terrible. The Washington County Attorney's Office case summarized states, the ensuing investigation revealed that Miss Franke and Miss Hildebrandt held Franke's 12-year-old son and 9-year-old daughter in a work camp-like setting. In their home, by the way, these children were held in a fucking work camp-like setting. Like how Chad was saying that he was being overworked in terms of being punished and physically being put through it, the same way, does anyone remember Jodi Hildebrandt's niece when they were speaking up about Jodi making them sleep outside, sleep in garage and stuff like that? Like, there's been so much to this story, and I hope people don't forget just because, like, we covered it a while ago, but I truly hope that Jodi and Ruby face the max sentences that they can get. Jesse, yes. The children were regularly denied food, water, beds to sleep in, and in Chad's case, the bedroom was taken off of him, while they are exploiting them for views and all the rest, making money off of them, and virtually all forms of entertainment. They were also prohibited from interacting with others. Crazy. And were hidden in the home when others came to visit. They were forced to do physical tasks like carrying loaded boxes up and down stairs and sitting against a wall without a chair or stool for hours at a time, by the way. Hours at a time. Now, we're reading a lot and processing a lot, but don't let it become null, because this is, like you've just said, this is literally fucking torture that they were putting these fucking 12-year-old and 9-year-old through. And that's not even including the other children, by the way. These two women need to rot in fucking prison for life. For fucking life. The children were also forced to do manual labor outdoors in the extreme summer heat without shoes or socks, which is what Jessie, the niece, also said, and Chad also said as well. They were similarly forced to stand outside on a cement patio in the summer heat for hours and even days. The summary further says they were beaten, and the 12-year-old was bound hand and foot after a previous attempt at running away. So when these kids would attempt to run away for safety, water, food, social interaction, safety, anything, they would be bound by the hands and feet. So by the way, the context in all this is that we're now seeing that Kevin is filing a lawsuit. So we'll get back to that. But this is just them giving us, a little bit of a summary. Additionally, the children suffered emotional abuse to the extent that they came to believe that they deserved the abuse. Now, Jessie, Jodie's niece, said that Jodi would say that it was Satan that was putting them through this, and they had to, force Satan out of them in this weird, torturous way that would justify them being abused, basically. The investigation found that religious extremism motivated Miss Franke and Miss Hildebrandt to inflict this abuse. The woman appeared to fully believe that the abuse they inflicted was necessary to teach the children how to properly, repent for imagined sins and to cast the evil spirits out of their bodies. Now, Kevin Franke's civil lawsuit in detail alleges that he is a victim of Hildebrandt. Okay. All right. Don't piss me off. Don't fucking piss me off. And you know what? I feel like, honestly, what really pisses me off is I feel like I'm the only fucking bitch on YouTube that is like anti-fucking Kevin right now. I feel like every fucking bitch I'm watching on YouTube is glazing the fuck over Kevin and fucking licking up his fucking pussy. But like, why the fuck are we not treating him like a grown man who stepped away and walked away from his children who were being fucking abused? And why the fuck are we babying him right now? Don't piss me the fuck off. Jodi Hildebrandt could have forced him away from those kids, abso-fucking-lutely. And yes, Kevin Franke can be a victim to the situation, but that doesn't mean that he's the overall victim who can make this shit about himself. And you know what pisses me off? He's going on a fucking media tour talking about me, and the kids are sitting beside him. Fuck off. Fuck off. And I'm like, you guys are normal, right? And you're like agreeing with me because you get it. But like, every single fucking commentary YouTuber that I'm seeing cover this, or like law tubers, are like, Kevin. And I'm like, yes, he can be a victim of the situation. Jodi could have forced him out of that house, but he decided to walk away from those kids knowing that Jodi was, in his words, like abusing him. So what do you think she was doing to your children? Pisses me off how everyone just decides to fucking glaze over him walking away from your kids. If Jodi's doing that to you, why did you let her be with your kids? Sorry. Maybe too invasive. Maybe me not being in the situation, so I'm like overstepping my boundaries. And the way that Kevin goes on his little fucking press tour and says, those armchair viewers who are judging what I did, yeah, I am judging what you did. Because your underage children were being abused by this woman that you said was doing you wrong. And when she got you out of that house, you walked away from it and then involved yourself in the situation again when they got arrested. Speaking of Kevin, how was it to fucking profit off of your kids? And by the way, they were also, in my opinion, from the footage that you've provided to the documentaries, by the way, being abused in the family vlogs. And by the way, Jodi Hildebrandt wasn't involved in the family vlogs. Let's not forget that. Ooh, Kevin Franke, I don't forget that it was you and Ruby Franke, your beloved wife, who were filming these family vlogs on 8 passengers. Jodi Hildebrandt wasn't a part of that. The footage that we're seeing in documentaries of these kids being fucking shouted at and abused were whenever you and Ruby were fucking family vlogging your kids. And you have the audacity to sit on fucking E! News and all this bullshit and be like, family channels are bad. Excuse me, Kevin? I'm not going to sit here like everyone else and read through Kevin Franke suing Jodi Hildebrandt and be like, this is the most amazing thing of all time. I hope Kevin wins. Yeah, sue her. Great. Jodi Hildebrandt is a piece of shit. Ruby Franke's a piece of shit. Kevin, I also believe you're one. Let's continue. So Kevin Franke alleges that he is a victim of Jodi Hildebrandt. The lawsuit demands a jury trial and seeks to target Hildebrandt's personal assets. It accuses her of gross incompetence, ironic, gross negligence, ironic, and deceit, claiming she was in a position of trust as his therapist. Franke alleges that Hildebrandt diagnosed him with various negative personality traits and advised him to sever communication with his children and his wife. Can we take that all in? In this lawsuit, Kevin Franke, using against Jodi Hildebrandt, is saying that Hildebrandt diagnosed him with various negative personality traits and advised him to sever communication with his children and his wife. Claiming his mental health conditions would negatively impact them. So I'm going to be honest. This to me, Hildebrandt diagnosed Kevin as being lustful, narcissistic, manipulative, deceptive, controlling, and selfish. Kevin, may I ask why you're suing Jodi Hildebrandt as to things she did to you rather than things she did to your children? Anyone else thinking of that? Why is this lawsuit about what she did to you instead of what she did to your kids? Why is no one talking about that? And that he needed her professional services to overcome these adverse personality, emotional, and mental health conditions. Okay. Attorney Nathan Evershed, a legal expert, reviewed the 15-page complaint and commented on the situation, saying, "It is harrowing to read, to say the least. He and his wife were trying to get help. His claim is that this woman deliberately and intentionally and completely disrupted and even to some degree destroyed his life." Why is, like, in my nicest comment here that I can give, why is this all about Kevin? That truly, to my core, is what's annoying me. Like, why is this about Kevin? This should not be about Kevin Franke. Kevin, you weren't advocating for your kids before when they were in the picture, Ruby and Jodi. Maybe you should be advocating for them now instead of making this about yourself. And honestly, I feel crazy because I'm the only fucking person saying this, other than you guys. Like, everyone I'm seeing talk about this is like, yeah, Kevin, yeah, Kevin, yeah, Kevin. And I'm like, yeah, like, this is a good points he's making. Yeah, go fight for it. But you didn't fight for your kids when they were going through this, and then now they're out of it, and you're not fighting for them and as to what they went through, but you're fighting as to what you lost out on. Chopped. It also alleges that Hildebrandt convinced Ruby to support this diagnosis and treatment. To that end, Evershed says, a diagnosis which he believes now with hindsight was really for her betterment, not for his. Another allegation says that Hildebrandt manipulated Franke using his religious beliefs, advising him that losing his job at Brigham Young University would be beneficial for his recovery. Franke was fired from BYU in June 2023 after failing to attend and renew his recommend. It claims, Hildebrandt says, that men like him were not worthy to work at BYU. Kevin, who cares? Who cares? Guys, maybe this is like an echo chamber. Maybe like we're just all the delusional people, but who fucking cares about Kevin? Why is this all about Kevin? Kevin, you should be petitioning and advocating for your children instead of you bringing up all this. I just don't trust him. I think he's performative. To sit on this little media tour alongside Chad and you speak for 90% of it, and then you're now suing Jodi for things you went through? For things you went through. Kevin. For things he went through. That's just, I personally would be taking this time to sue on behalf of the kids as to what your children went through that you didn't see because you walked away from it. Evershed says it's a paradise of horribles that he's claiming to be a victim of by a deliberate attempt by Miss Hildebrandt to isolate him from his family. So Kevin, if you're going to do a lawsuit, maybe you should do the lawsuit as to what your children dealt with because Miss Hildebrandt isolated you from them. If Kevin's main argument here is that Jodi Hildebrandt isolated him from his family, maybe the lawsuit should be what the kids went through because she isolated them from their father, not you suing on behalf of you that she isolated you from your kids. Right? Right, guys? He was the one who isolated himself. He said he rented an apartment to be away from them. Well, clearly we're all the ones in the wrong because everyone else fucking covering this is up his fucking hole. Franke claims he paid Hildebrandt $900 per month for his weekly therapy sessions after she raised her prices. He also claims he was paying over $300 monthly for an online men's therapy group, with payments requested through Venmo by Hildebrandt because it was easier. The lawsuit also accuses Hildebrandt of instructing Franke to write letters detailing his alleged negative traits, which she advised Ruby Franke to use as leverage in the divorce proceedings. Evershed remarked, anyone with any measurement of a heart reading this, assuming that even half of it's true, would have to go out to him, and you can see why he's filing this. I disagree completely. I truly disagree completely. I really, really, really disagree completely. Kevin Franke should be using his money and time and lawyer fees to be advocating for his children, who, by the way, mostly are still underage. We have the eldest children, like Sherry, in court advocating for child protection laws when it comes to online child vlogging, right? Kevin Franke is now suing Jodi Hildebrandt on behalf of himself for himself. Kevin, there are still underage children in that household, I think 2 of them. Advocate for them. Be there for them like you weren't. And you know what, Kevin? I can understand that you are a victim in this, and that Jodi came in, manipulated all of you, and forced you out of the equation. I am sympathetic towards that. What I'm not sympathetic towards is that in this present moment, when they are both locked up, thank motherfuck, that you're deciding to go after Jodi for things that she put you through. You should be going after her for things she put your children through. And I think it says a lot about you that you're choosing these legal fees to go after things she did to you. Kevin, I do think you are a victim in this. And by the way, there is no perfect victim. And that applies to what I'm saying with Kevin Franke. Abso-fucking-lutely. So Kevin, while I acknowledge that you are a victim of this, I think your kids are a victim of this. And I think it tells me a lot about you personally that you're choosing to do this on behalf of yourself rather than anything. But let's continue. And claims Hildebrandt accused him of being a lover of darkness, lover of Satan, and of hiding something very dark and very evil. Evershed remarked that you would know that there is a reason he's filing this. The lawsuit lists numerous alleged injuries and damages, including failure to properly diagnose Franke's mental health conditions, unprofessional treatment methods, and disclosing confidential information to Ruby Franke. It claims Hildebrandt's actions caused damage and injuries to Franke, who was owed a duty of care as her patient. Kevin, she abused your kids. And you're suing her for a failure to diagnose your ex-wife? You're suing her for unprofessional treatment methods? You're suing her for not being able to disclose confidential information? And you're not suing her for the fact that she was killing your children? I think this is absolutely fucking ridiculous. I think this is absolutely fucking ridiculous. I think this is such a slap in the face. I think this is such a slap in the face. Kevin, how about instead of suing her for the fact that she misdiagnosed your ex-wife, how about the fact that your kids, without your knowledge, by the way, you didn't fucking know anything about it, were taped up, starved, malnourished, running in the streets, begging for someone to fucking help them. Oh, but don't worry. She misdiagnosed Ruby Franke, and that's, Kevin has to sue for that. And every single channel I'm seeing covering this is like, this is a really good case. This is a really good case. This is a real good case. Okay, it might be a good case, but is it what he should be spending his money and time on? I personally don't think so. They're saying that it's unknown how much assets Jodi still has because obviously he's suing, for the assets, which is interesting that Kevin is suing and going after assets. As of now, Jodi Hildebrandt has not responded to the lawsuit, and it's unclear if she has legal representation. I don't know, Kevin. I really don't know, Kevin. If I was in your position and I had done what you did, I don't think my priorities would be suing Jodi for that thing. Thank God you guys are in the same fucking boat as me. Peyton, hey Peyton, said a really great thing. Kevin, sue her for abusing your kids, not misdiagnosing your crazy wife. Speak on it, Peyton. He's talked more about Ruby this entire time than his kids. Okay, I'm going to leave it here, but I don't know. I think this says a lot about Kevin. And I think from the picture that I'm seeing of him and the interviews I'm seeing him doing, I just truly can't warm to him. If I'm being honest, I would love to warm to him, and I would love to be able to, you know, look at him in this perspective of they all went through this. There's no perfect victim. He is a victim. I understand that. I respect that. I respect him as a victim. I completely understand that, right? But I think that what he's doing right now kind of shows me a lot of his morals, and specifically going after her assets. And like, I don't know, Kevin. I don't think I respect you at all. I really, I don't think this is about you. And I don't think it should be about you, because it's not. At all. At fucking all. So, Kevin, good luck with your lawsuit. And I hope that soon you start to prioritize your kids rather than your fucking self and your own image. But, hey, I guess that's your journey and not mine. It's not my journey. I didn't walk out on my kids. That's you. And if you don't want to sue on behalf of what your kids went through when you walked out, then that's on you. Good for you. Good for you, Kevin. Good for you. You know what? Sue on behalf of what she put you through, not your kids. Fair enough. Fair enough, Kevin. Fair fucking enough. And we'll leave it there, Kevin. Good luck with your lawsuit. Okay, before we end the video, I did find the clip. Someone tweeted at me.
I am not gay. I am not dumb. I am not stupid. I am not ugly. I am not fat. I'm not all those things. Because I am divine. I am not gay. I am not dumb. I am not stupid. I am not ugly. I am not fat. I'm not all those things. Because I am divine. I am not gay. I am not dumb. I am not stupid. I am not ugly. I am not fat. I'm not all those things. Because I am divine.
Moms of Truth with Jodi and Ruby. And you know what? We'll leave it there. Good luck with your lawsuit, Kevin.